Have you noticed this thing where religious people give themselves allowances?
Yes.
No, I'm talking about
Predominantly.
Because there's like this girl of a certain famous singer. She posted that she went to church. She was like crying. She's like, oh, I was just like led by the Holy Spirit at church to say, and everyone was like on her, slobbing on her knob in the comments, like, I'm so excited that she is religious and blah, blah, blah.
Slobbing on her knob.
It makes me so happy that she is on team religion with us, right? Fine, I don't give a fuck because I don't care about her.
I'm like unfollow.
Here's the thing that got me. I don't follow her. Here's the thing that got me. I was telling Tony the other day, I don't like any human person enough to follow them and like get updates about them.
Okay, well, we need people to feel that way about us.
Anyway, so then this week, everyone posts constantly is like, did she and her boyfriend break up, right? And so all of her things, search bars are, did she and her boyfriend break up? And she's so tired of seeing it that she did that audio that says, how about you lick on my nuts? Which is funny, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so last week,
in the name of Jesus,
right? Like in the name of Jesus, look on my nuts. What is that?
Welcome to Read It and Screech, the podcast
for my precious niece Jeanette Horton, who is as beautiful inside as she is outside. I remember the first time I saw her when she was a little beauty of it. You only saw her when she was 8, and I was dating her uncle, and I knew I wanted a little girl like her, blonde curls, blue eyes, and a sweet smile. Ew, who wrote it? Ooh, brother, ooh.
If you're too loud, you can sit with us while I give you the Cliff's Notes and the cringiest quotes, and we go screeching all the way. I'm Grace, and this is my co-host, Ava. This week, we present The Fifth Victim by Beverly Barton.
The fifth victim is Denise.
The first two are Eva and I.
Jeanette was the first victim.
Okay. This is the first book in the Cherokee Point trilogy. It has 352 pages. It is 10 hours and 23 minutes by audio.
Too long. 10 hours and 22 minutes too long.
Narrated by Marguerite Gavin. 3.9 on Goodreads. I found it because I was trying to find his other book.
Because you Googled Liz Satan reading tonight.
No, I was trying to find this other book that was like about this like Appalachian town in Virginia. So I looked up like Appalachian based like books, and this came up, and it wasn't what I was looking for, but it's how I found
that thing on Facebook where it says, what's on your mind? And Satan was like, this is what's on my mind. Right. And you were like, I'll read that.
Well, you don't even know yet. This could be the best book.
I don't believe you at all. It's on that tagline.
So, and like, it's really weird. So it's like, it was written in...
Oh, it's really weird? No.
It was written in 2004, but it was released on Amazon in like 2018 or something. So it looks like
get
modern.
Interested in it?
No, it's not modern. So it's basically set in like the Knoxville, Chattanooga area, like eastern part of Tennessee, just the next holler over from us. They are all fucking each other in that town. And it's multiple first person POV, like 1 million. Our characters are Jenny with a G. She's a hot...
Jenny
with a G.
Genny.
Short for Jennifer.
Genny.
She's a hot psychic virgin who lives in a remote home alone.
I can't imagine why this didn't get picked up.
It did. This was traditionally published. She just didn't release it like on Amazon until then. She has a dog who is half wolf with whom she can communicate telepathically. Her cousin Jacob is the town sheriff, and her best friend Jazzy is slutty in a good way and the owner of a diner in town. She makes a living selling herbs through a mail order catalog. She has big boobs, a tiny waist, a tight butt, and a triangle of jet black hair nestled between her trim thighs.
Ew! Jenny! This is the worst thing I've ever heard.
I did have to copy and paste. That's copy and paste description.
Yeah.
The main man character is Dallas Sloan. He's an FBI agent in town to investigate a recent string of ritualistic killings in Cherokee Point. He is in prime physical condition, and also he is a big dull dud. Then we have the serial killer who loves hot psychic virgins who live in remote homes alone.
That's not special. That's like pretty mundane, regular.
Typical serial killer.
Right.
He purposefully finds women he deems innocent and sacrifices them in order to give himself psychic powers. In the prologue, Genny is having a psychic premonition in which the serial killer is doing his thing. He kills a girl at dawn by slicing her belly open like a ripe melon.
Ew, I don't like that word.
and drinks her blood.
Oh my God.
She calls Jazzy and Jacob right away to let them know and to warn Jacob about the murder that's going to be reported pretty soon.
Jacob and Jennifer.
Jacob. Jacob and Gaggy. Gazzy. Dallas is in FBI headquarters. He is personally invested in these murders because his niece was killed in a similar way.
Another niece.
He's had a previous...
Someone checked on this person.
Hold on, I'm getting there.
Ah!
He had a previous affair with his investigative partner to show that he's desirable.
Okay.
He receives a fax about the most recent murder and decides instantly that this has to be linked to his niece's murder.
Niece again.
This is where we pause and have a genuine question. How would you feel if the book that your aunt dedicated to you
Right.
was based on you being murdered?
Niece. I don't like it.
Over in Cherokee Point, Jenny, Jacob, and Jazzy are doing a terrible job hiding her psychic powers by telling everyone who will listen about every vision she has. Jazzy stops by her granny's fucked up little sharecropper shack.
Also, don't say sharecropper.
I didn't write that.
That is horrific. Who wrote this?
And they let her know that her old high school fuckboy boyfriend is back in town. And they tell her not to open her legs for him like she's done every other time he's ever been in town. The serial killer watches Jacob eat an egg sandwich.
Why is it?
And then walk around in the snow.
Who? In what? I want to know where these people went to college where they were like, you know what gets the readers going? Egg sandwiches. They write about this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's in every book. They're like, egg salad.
Or peanut butter.
It's egg salad every time. This is a controversial food. You know, in most books that there aren't different, they write out like steak and stuff. Egg salad.
I'm really into eggs. He is unbothered by the investigation because he's done it 4 times now, and he has not come close to getting caught at all. Jenny is getting wood for the fire in her isolated old house when she has a vision of Dallas and has a feeling he's a good person, so she gets the house ready for a visitor. Dallas is driving to town in his Saturn and ends up in a ditch. So he makes his way to Jenny's house where she has left the light on for him. She offers to let him stay the night and use her phone. They eat sandwiches and drink tea, and he's horny for her immediately.
What?
Meanwhile, the serial killer is planning his next murder. The husband of the lady who will be the second victim notices that she's gone and straight away goes to law enforcement. They blow him off because she's a hoe. They're like, she's probably out fucking somebody. Back at her house, Jenny is having another psychic vision about the next victim. She did not warn Dallas that she has these episodes, so it freaks him out. He comforts her by letting her sit half naked in his lap. Of course, the next morning, people find the body, and the vision was correct. They decide not to be worried about the serial killer because it's probably just a devil-worshipping cult.
Just casual devil worshippers.
Dallas will not accept that Jenny is a witch, but he does follow her into her room and stares at her topless and gets a hard-on from hell before running away.
Hell sends hard-ons?
She has a stranger in her house staring at her naked, but it's fine because he's hot. She did not ask him for ID to prove that he's an FBI agent either. He said, knock, knock, knock. Can I come in?
Did the person who wrote this go to prison?
No.
Are you sure?
No, she probably lives not far from here. Not just the next holler over.
Did you check?
They make their way into town, and of course her vision was right. There are no physical similarities between the 2 women that were killed. Dallas is convinced that the killer is the same one who killed his niece, so he's extremely motivated to help them. While in town, Jenny goes to see Jazzy, who's on the phone with her fuckboy ex, who has not ceased trying to smash since he got into town. Jazzy can tell that Jenny and Dallas have the hots for each other despite knowing each other for about 18 hours. Dallas feels that Jacob is being overprotective of his cousin who let a stranger break into her house and watch her change.
Open knowledge?
I don't know.
It's the changing part?
It's open knowledge to me. He follows her around while she runs errands in town and takes note of all the men in her general vicinity. He says that until her phone lines start working again, he's not going to let her stay in the house alone. Because, who else might wander into her house at night?
Other than him?
Yeah, other than him. They bond over his trauma. Over at Jazzy's house, her ex comes over drunk and tries to force himself on her and asks her if she likes, quote, fucking that big, ugly Indian, unquote.
Oh my God.
Referring to Jacob. Apparently, Jacob and Gazzy had a fling previously. She knocks the shit out of him and tells him that she will shoot his balls off if he doesn't leave her alone.
There's some pretty racist undertones in this.
Very much so. Funny that he thought she was doing it with Jacob because he's actually across town doing it with some towny divorcee who isn't smart but knows how to kiss and fuck.
Why specifically knows how to kiss? Is that something people don't know?
Evidently.
We gotta put that on some resumes.
Mm-hmm.
Sign here.
She says, come on, big boy, and give me what I want. And she says she always gets her cookies when she's on top.
What?
Unbeknownst to these crazy kids, The killer is outside the apartment waiting for her to leave so he can grab her next.
This is a horrifying piece of literature.
To Dallas's credit, he does look into renting his own cabin, and he goes the next morning to talk loudly for everyone to hear to Jacob about the murders. So they don't keep any of this confidential. Jacob decides there's no connection to these murders and the 5 identical ones that happened last year in Mobile, Alabama, which is not that far away. And Jazzy asks Jenny for a psychic reading because she's afraid she might actually shoot her piece of shit ex next time.
I think I might.
Jenny tries not to use her gift to interfere in people's lives. Couldn't be me. But we'll make an exception to get the ex out of Jazzy's life because that's how much she hates him.
I hate him. Fuck.
Speaking of the ex, Jacob goes ahead and puts him on the...
Sorry, what do we think about her judgment when she was dating a racist piece of shit?
I don't know. He was rich.
Okay.
Jacob goes ahead and puts him on the short list of suspects, which surely has nothing to do with the fact that he has a crush on her. Dallas goes to see Jenny under the pretense of talking about the case, but lets it slip that he just wants to get laid. Are you oh, it's getting good. Okay, it's getting good. Jenny decides that Dallas is her mate and is just in denial about it.
What the fuck? Yeah.
She has another vision of the next victim, which is, in parentheses, Jacob's fuck buddy, the divorcee who knows how to kiss and fuck. She passes out from the vision and telepathically calls for Dallas to come help her. So evidently she can communicate with not just animals, but also haunt men. The murder comes to pass and the killer makes a comment about how the last sacrifice will be a psychic and he will absorb their power when he kills them. Dallas listens to his heart and goes to Jenny's house and she tells him about the latest vision.
Listen to your heart.
They try to save the girl, but they're too late. They find the body in a jacked up barn, and Jacob is put off by seeing his fuck buddy murdered. In the midst of all this, Jenny realizes that she can intentionally connect her mind with the killer, and the group strongly discourages this and makes her leave the crime scene. Dallas takes her home. Her childhood friend Royce is there to check on her. Turns out he also has a touch of the gift, so they've always been friends. And he obviously has liked her since childhood. The friend...
Oh, now that I don't love her.
Right. Friend leaves and Dallas makes her toast and watches her sleep. They all decide that maybe the murders are...
Makes her toast what?
Toast. Makes her toast. Toasted bread.
Her what?
They all finally decide that maybe the murders are connected to those that occurred in Mobile. Elsewhere, in the sanctuary of the local church, the pastor's wife fucks a drifter while he watches.
Why?
Gotcha.
No.
Jump scare.
Just scared, period.
Jenny wakes up and the grannies are there. They made her deviled eggs.
What is with the eggs?
And she goes to find Dallas. He looks at her like he wants her in the primal way a man wants a woman. And she telepathically tells him she loves him.
The way that platypuses look at seaweed.
One of the grannies stays the night with her because she's still frail from all the psychic energy she's been expending. The next day, this grimy-ass businessman from town stops by her house for a hearty lech. Turns out he's been talking hella shit about Jacob to the press, who then punched a reporter. And he explains to her that if she goes out with him, he won't...
All her problems will be fixed.
He won't let the reporter sue Jacob. So he's like, all you have to do is...
But y'all give a fuck.
Basically, fuck me and I won't ruin your cousin's career. Dallas walks in like a macho man and intimidates the man into leaving. Also of note, it seems like Jenny's house is just a revolving door of disgusting men from town.
Right, this is stupid.
Dallas's old partner calls him and tells him that apparently the 5th victim in previous related cases were all clairvoyant, and that does not bode well for Jenny. Dallas is happy to move in with her for security purposes. Also, it's a terrible idea for her to telepathically connect with the killer, but she insists upon it. Not crucial to the plot, but crucial to the pod. Across town, Jazzy's ex tells his fiancé that he won't cheat on her if she lets him put it in her butt.
No! What?
She lets him. And the same day he leaves and cheats on her anyway.
Right, that's a stupid ass lie. No one should ever fall for.
Dallas and Jenny decide to bone. And they make a gigantic to-do of it. It's horrific. There's candles, and she gets this family heirloom quilt out on the bed.
Why would you want to bone on a family heirloom other people have probably also boned on?
She says they don't need words. Their hearts can speak for them.
Can they?
They fuck in front of the fire, and she cries.
Oh, I'm crying.
Now that they're mated, they're even more psychically connected. She tries to connect with the killer again and ends up connecting with the pastor's wife instead.
Oh my God!
Who was fucking that guy in the sanctuary and apparently is performing satanic rituals in the basement. She runs to tell her husband, who freaks out and tells her that they're going to end up blaming them for the murders because they're in this satanic cult, even though they don't do human sacrifices. They just do animal sacrifices. To Jenny's credit, She doesn't assume that they're responsible for the murders just because they're in a cult. She just thinks they're gross, which is correct. Jacob doesn't believe her that they aren't involved in the murders and decides to run and check on it. He talks to the people that she said were in the cult, and they gaslight him about it, so he leaves them alone. Jenny has been sleeping constantly because she keeps using her powers and it makes her tired. She goes outside to feed her animals, and someone shoots her in broad daylight in front of a whole FBI agent.
It was me.
He rushed. It was Krampus. He rushes her to the hospital, and she's fine. Everyone and their mother is there checking on her, including all the men who've been dropping by her house.
Oh my god.
Access is not restricted to this gunshot victim. Someone says that they saw the pastor running through the woods around that time, so they have a good idea that's who did it. He confesses and goes to jail right away.
Jesus.
Jenny's having a hard time using her powers because of all the pain medication, but she finally gets her bearings and immediately tries again to contact the killer.
I'm sorry, do we address why the pastor is shooting at people? Or is he just in a silly, goofy mood on a Tuesday?
Because his wife, the wife is like, hey, this girl, like, low-key psychic FaceTimed me while I was doing a ritual, and so she knows we're cult members. And she knows they didn't have anything to do with the murders, but he's afraid they're going to assume that, so he says, well, I'll just go kill the girl. Problem solved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seems like a stretch.
Mm-hmm. She immediately tries again to make contact with the killer. He tells her that he's going to kill the pastor's wife and then her. They shit on her for doing this, for contacting the killer, but they use the information she gives them anyway. Of course, they don't get to the pastor's wife in time, but the killer hides the body so they don't realize that he's ready to make Jenny the fifth victim. He puts on a wig and some scrubs and walks right into the hospital and into her room, drugs her, and takes her to a cave in the woods, where she runs into the cast from the book Hooked doing their business meeting. Because everything happens in a cave in the woods.
With egg salad sandwiches.
No one realizes what happened until Dallas comes to visit her and sees she's gone. When she wakes up in the cave, she sees that it's the childhood friend from earlier who's taken her. He's decided that by killing her, he can steal her powers. She says Dallas will catch him, which is not proven to be true yet, but okay. Turns out his mom was really mean to him, so that's why he's like this. He killed her to try to take her powers, and it didn't work, but he thinks this will. Jenny tries to make telepathic contact with Dallas again, but it will only work if he loves her back.
Oh my god.
It worked earlier, so okay. Jacob and Dallas are shockingly
Spoiler, he doesn't love her. Yeah.
Jacob and Dallas are shockingly calm about her going missing, but he finally hears her calling for him and they make their way towards her. At the same time, she telepathically calls her dog for help, and he rounds up all the woodland creatures to come.
The dog loves her.
Yeah. He rounds up all the woodland creatures to come to her aid. While the killer is distracted, Dallas shoots him dead, and the animals drag him into the woods and eat him.
Rohan calls for aid.
The community considers this to be a Christian burial and leaves it at that. A few months later, Dallas proposes, and they have an after party at Jazzy's diner. He has quit his job, but has money from investments at the end.
Not everything that you think of in your head needs to be written down. All these fucking authors didn't need to write shit down.
You can choose where are they now or 3 pros, 3 cons.
I don't like anything about it. I can give you 3 cons. I can give you 8 cons. No, I can give you no pros. There's no pros. There's not a single good thing about that book. That was legitimate. It's all got left out for 4 days. I understand why that person wrote that a long time ago and it didn't get published forever.
This story as a whole
was literally
it would have been better if
flaming hot garbage.
It would have been better if Genny wasn't so insufferable, because she was truly insufferable. She said, come to me, Dallas.
God,
if you love me, come to me.
What did the cover look like?
Come love me. Just like her running in the woods, which really only happened for 5 minutes, and then she was shot. Wet Hot Awful reads, they did fuck in front of the fire till she cried.
Oh,
that guy did fuck that girl in the ass. And then Jacob did fuck that stupid divorcee. I have our
4.2 because I feel like it was really, really terrible, but also I always like to give a margin for there's going to be a worse one.
What would you have fixed to make it tolerable?
I would have dedicated it to an 8-year-old.
You know, Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, or
Ramsay.
Like Ramsay. Kitchen Nightmares, or they do Bar Rescue, where they come in and they're like, this is, bad, but we're going to make it good. We're going to do a new segment called Trash Ass Fiction Rescue.
Trash to treasure.
How would you fix it?
It's trash.
A quick overview.
How would I fix it?
How would you quick fix
it?
I
wouldn't have dedicated it to a literal child who I was somehow weirdly obsessed with their looks.
Fix Ganny's personality.
The names were from hell.
Dedication, names.
That's really hard to just pick one. It was written really bad.
You didn't read it. I might have just summarized it really bad.
No, you could tell that the writing was like, and then this hot man comes and saves her, and then this hot man comes and saves her, and then this hot man comes and saves her. It was just really weird. And there's been a couple of them like that. I don't know if you've noticed that. The other cave one was like that too.
The Hook one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then when they do it, though, they don't even do a very good job.
No.
And it's like,
no, but this was better than that. This was better than the guy running down the hallway saying, "Come back here, young lady. I'm fucking that girl in his daughter's room."
Better.
That happened, and this
That's
happened
what
in
I
this book.
I was preserving the bad rating. It wasn't as bad as it could have been.
And he wasn't a demon. She wasn't fucking the serial killer, which is something
There
that would
was a
happen.
child involved. Take that thing back.
Thank you for listening to Read and Screech. If you'd like to support, I'm once again asking you to rate, review, and subscribe. I am just a girl standing in front of a podcast asking you to rate, review, and subscribe.
I don't care what you do. It's a free country as of now.
I thought the worst part was the trim black triangle between her.
Oh my god.
Between her trim thighs.
Ew.
Disgusting.